As always, we start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America.
States of America,
And
and to the republic, which stands one nation, under God,
and justice for all.
with justice for all.
We could have a moment of silence for all first responders. Are there any changes to the minutes?
Motion for approval?
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Robert, Bill, we need a second.
Second, Bill.
No.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, all those in favor? Please say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. The chairman's report, the chairman couldn't make it. He didn't give me a direction. But I'd like to thank Bridgeport firefighter and Fairfield resident Captain Marcus Dierna for his resourcefulness, quick thinking, and bravery in rescuing a lady who was trying to rescue her own dog at Perry's Pond and fell through the ice. And the captain used a fire hose and grabbed her and got everybody out. So thank you.
Thank you.
So the chief, you're up.
Good evening, commissioners. Couple items to bring your attention. You have the training report from Chief Bisson that's included in the packet. And I won't go into any more detail, but you can answer any questions that you have regarding that report. Regarding ongoing issues that we reviewed previously with the Board of Fire Commissioners, we continue to track EMS response. As you recall, there's been quite a bit of discussion regarding AMR and its on-time performance. And we have had our last meeting with them in early January and have get monthly reports. We did have a month, I believe it's October, that their on-time performance fell below the benchmark of 90% on time. It has for the past 2 months been 91% consistently. And I think that President Tuttle had, echoed my comments regarding what our goal is. And that goal is to have the very best performance and on time or response time possible. There at our last meeting with AMR, there was they discussed their intent to increase the number of ambulances that are stationed in Fairfield to 3 from the current 2. We expect to have a meeting with them in March and follow up on that to determine whether they're be able to meet that expectation. Obviously, that will give us better response time, particularly for those periods when the system is overloaded. And I think we discussed in great detail at our last meeting the reason why or behind some of that poor performance. Paramedics getting sucked into work in the ER because they're short-staffed due to COVID. The ramp time at the emergency room because they cannot unload patients as quickly because of the amount of patients in the ER at any given time. And I've had some recent experience with that and understand fully or appreciate it a little bit better, just how busy that ER is. But we are continuing to work with them to push them to make sure that every resident in the town of Fairfield gets the level of service that 90% of the calls are receiving. So more to follow, but we are certainly pressing them on those issues. We are in the middle of budget season. We have submitted the preliminary budget to the first select woman. We have a follow-up meeting with her on Tuesday. And at the end of February, hearings, the Board of Selectmen hearings will be held. I think our date is the 27th and 23rd. The first meeting is the 23rd. Their vote wraps up and gets her budget gets transmitted to the Board of Finance right after the 1st of March. As soon as her budget is released, then we will share it with the Board of Fire Commissioners. And the highlights. Entry level testing. I'm sorry. We are the closing date for applications for entry level testing. It was scheduled to be tomorrow. We worked with the testing company because applications are down. We're at about 50% of the 2020 applications, and working hard to get the numbers up. So we asked for an extension of 1 week and have followed up with some social media, Fire Academy website, as well as others to spread the word. So anybody who knows anybody who's interested in a firefighting career, there is a very good opportunity right now with half the number of applicants that we received in 2020. That's good for applicants. It may not necessarily be good for fire departments. If we burn through the list, we'll have to consider running an entry level test in the off year and have this a 1 year list and then refresh it a year from now. But we'll wait to see what the last numbers come in. The numbers are going up. Everybody's waiting to the last minute, and hopefully the extra week will push the numbers up. So, more to follow.
Thank you. So the deadline is now the
18th, prior to the 18th. Yep.
Deputy Chief.
So we had training on all shifts during the month of January on ice rescue. And as mentioned, it came in good stead when company, I think it was company 1 and company 4 responded. Some of the members of this were there. And Captain Marcus Bridgeport, saw the incident happen. He started working, but there was also, I think, a dog was out on the ice still, and our members went to rescue the dog. And as you know, our philosophy is to rescue dogs, because if we don't rescue the dog, people, first of all, it's nice to, we think it's the right thing to do, but also otherwise people will go out after the dog and get themselves into trouble. So it was good work by the Bridgeport firefighter and our firefighters. ECC is having the 911 system installed February 22nd and 23rd, and doing some testing 24th and 25th. It's all some of the steps that still have to be done before they move in. They're hoping to be operational in early March, so I'm not sure how things will fall in line, but there's also some training with the dispatchers, and we need mock-up of, we need to have them train also on the new CAD, the combined CAD, which is going to be a little bit different than the CAD they're using now. We had our new probationary for firefighter. One of them started remote learning at our training center here for the first 2 weeks, and she'll be going up to the academy after the 2 weeks are ended. And another firefighter has started this week on the line. We had the room for the fire marshal that's been constructed on the second floor of fire headquarters is complete. And there were some other runs put down on the second floor, and DPW painted some other areas for us on the second floor, and doing some more painting in other areas later on this year. As the chief mentioned with the budget, he mentioned our regular budget. We also had a Board of Selectmen meeting this week, which approved our grant request for our SCBA replacement plan. We have 66 writing positions of air masks of the fire department. 2 years ago, we had an AFG. We were successful with that 2 or 3 years ago. And we replaced 28 of them, so the other remaining 38, we're looking to replace with a grant. So for $116,000, we'll get $358,000 worth of air masks and cylinders and face pieces. So we're hoping that we're successful with the grant. Let's see, and that concludes my report tonight.
Thank you. Thanks, Congress, for help on that incident. Is there anybody here from the Southport Fire Department? I don't see them on the call. Stratfield Volunteer Fire Department? No. President Tuttle of the Local 1426.
I had everyone, I brought some extra people with me tonight. You
Noticed.
You'll be noticing the fire department and our personnel at more and more town meetings. I've reported to you for the past few months that negotiations were going poorly. They've descended from poorly to stopped. We're no longer negotiating with the town of Fairfield. We filed for binding arbitration. When we do things like that, I want you to know how seriously we take it. I've negotiated 4 contracts, or been part of negotiations of 4 contracts since I've been here, and had 5 contracts in place since I've been here. This is the first time we've ever come to an impasse where we've had to go to binding arbitration. We've been to arbitration before over issues. We also went to arbitration briefly when the RTM voted our contract down in 2012. This is the first time we've ever had negotiations come to a halt. I can only speak from our point of view. I'm sure the town has a different one. In our opinion, the town failed to come in with any sort of serious offers. At times completely refused to negotiate with us. We made counter offers to their offers. If we did reject something, we explained why we rejected it. We received none of that from the town. They countered 0 of our offers. And the day that we left here, this very room, 2 weeks ago, we were given an item, a grouping of proposals that they said were a package deal. That package deal included a raise that I consider insulting, followed by, I don't know the exact number, but say just a little less than a dozen requests for us to give up some other things in our contract. There wasn't one positive for us in there. And we spent an hour and a half countering those, to be told by the town, apparently you weren't listening. It was take it or leave it. So we left it. The town suggested then that we try mediation. Given the tenor and the tone that we were treated with, I felt that mediation was nothing more than a stall tactic on their part. If they hadn't moved in an inch in any direction since we sat down at this meeting, I didn't see that a mediator sitting in a room was going to teach them anything different or talk to them in any way that was different. Furthermore, I told the first selectwoman, I absolutely refuse to sit in a room with the human resources director again and speak to him in any way, shape, or form about anything unless we're in something where we have to be. I have to take step 2 grievances in front of him. I'll present my grievance. I have no issue. He has to listen and I have to give it to him. That's as far as I'll go with him. I will not sit down in a room with that man again and have a conversation without it just being, I'll present my case, he can present his, and we'll let somebody decide. I'm willing to be fully transparent with anybody on the commission, and that's why we haven't gone to the public first before we wanted to come here. I didn't want you to read it in the paper and then come to have to ask me. We will be releasing a statement soon. And if anyone in this group or anyone who isn't here tonight that one should tell them, my phone number is available. You can call me at any time and I'll explain everything and give you any piece of information that I'm legally able to give you. And I'm here to answer any questions you might have now. It might be a little while before you come up with a question, but
Yeah.
you can find me at any time.
Can I check with Bill and Rob?
Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Bill or Rob, do you want to go first?
This is Rob.
I don't have any
no
questions at this point.
Yeah, me neither. This is Rob. No problem.
Okay, like I said, I'm easy to find. If a question comes up where you hear something that doesn't sound like what I said was truthful, by all means, call me out and I'm willing to discuss anything.
Is it possible to pursue, I'm not familiar with this.
Sure.
This process, is it possible to just pursue both tracks? Or you have to go mediation, arbitration?
Theoretically, yes, we could go to mediation while we're waiting for arbitration, but I'm gonna spend my time, energy, and money on preparing for arbitration. I have it'll be costly. I have to bring people to it, and I'm gonna spend my money on arbitration where I believe we're gonna end up at.
Sorry, David.
That's okay.
Thank you for coming and telling us, and thank you all for coming to emphasize the point. I didn't know, I knew things the last time we talked were not moving the way you wanted, but I didn't know it had gotten this bad, so I appreciate the heads up and the courtesy of telling us directly and before it gets too public. Beyond that, I don't know enough to react or ask questions in this forum at the moment, but you have certainly triggered my interest.
Again, I'm always available.
Yeah. And I really do appreciate the courtesy.
Yeah, that's why I was hoping you'd have a quorum tonight.
Yes, well, we
Really,
do.
really messed up my plans.
Yeah, no, you do, so you're good, you're recorded. But I really do appreciate the courtesy of you all coming forward, very much.
That's the end of my report. Otherwise, hey, we're great.
Commissioner, if I may comment?
Yeah.
Sure. So, it is in the fire department's best interest to have a negotiated settlement. I've made that clear. The impact of protracted arbitration is essentially a process where everybody loses something. And, it is detrimental to the good working order of the fire department. It creates an adversarial environment that's impossible to keep out of the firehouse and daily operations, despite everybody's best intention to separate that and not have it impact service. And it doesn't. And I think that your president would agree that this would never transcend into anything that harms our ability to meet the mission of the Fairfield Fire Department. That said, it does create a demoralizing environment within the firehouse, and that is bad for the fire department as an entity. As I've told the first select woman and the HR director, and I've told the union executive board, the administration, my responsibility is not to necessarily the town of Fairfield, although I answer to them. It's not to the union, although I work with them. It is to the mission of the Fairfield Fire Department and to ensure that every day that we can meet that mission as effectively as possible. I have tried, and the union president and I have had discussions about it. I've joined him over at Town Hall to plead the case. We are working with the First Select Woman's office. I am working with the First Select Woman's office to change the environment in which any follow-on discussions, whether it is negotiations, mediation, or arbitration, take place, so that a responsible package, whether either side agree with the content, a responsible, respectful package is on the table for due consideration and negotiations. Unfortunately, over 6 months, we have not had negotiations. There has been this or that, and not what really needs to occur in negotiations. And like Bill, I have participated in many, and some have ended up in arbitration. But the best ones are when both sides come prepared to negotiate. And, I will continue to work with both sides to find a pathway there to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Chief.
Just a quick follow-up.
Sure.
The chief brought up a good point, and is in the future press release, but what happens between us and the town never affects service. We don't strike. We don't have any illegal job actions. Nothing bleeds out from us to the outside world. Things, as the chief pointed out, inside the firehouse and inside the fire service will change, and you will notice us acting more politically, but clearly on our own time and not during working hours. The general public shouldn't notice a difference at all,
Thank
other
you.
than if they notice us in front of places.
That would be appreciated.
Thank you. After all that, is there a cert report from, Norma?
Hi, this is Norma. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes.
have nothing new to report this month.
Norma, weren't you involved in recruiting a new class?
Wasn't I involved in what, please?
A cert getting ready to recruit a new class?
We are, but since I reported on that last month, I thought I wouldn't mention it again. But since you do mention it, we have been low in terms of getting recruiting interest this year for some reason. So if you all know of someone who would be a good candidate for the team, the training starts on February 26th, and the information is on the Park and Rec website.
Well, one of the reasons I bring that up is I haven't noticed any of the electronic signs around town. Now granted, I've been mostly housebound recovering from surgery, but I haven't noticed any of the signs promoting sign up. So I would ask the department to address whether there is an opportunity to put the electronic sign message that we've used in the past to say, consider search. Here's how you contact somebody.
A good question. I actually was in touch with the police department, and they indicated they would put them up as possible, but if anyone, either the chief or the deputy, would have an opportunity to look into that or has other availability for the variable message boards, that would be helpful. Good point. Thank you.
And the chief has acknowledged that they will.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, old business, charter revision.
Nothing new at the moment for me. I don't know about anybody else. It's gonna be a long journey.
New business, personnel issues regarding sick leave.
Executive session for that? 'Cause we're just-
We didn't notice executive session, and do we have the right people here for executive session?
Personnel issues.
I'm sure that I can discuss it in open session.
Then why don't you do that here,
Okay.
and if we
I-
do, well, I'm preempting you, but I have more experience in this.
Yes,
We can always do an executive.
Okay,
session at another time.
Ron Vargo, fire inspector. He had one knee replaced a year
Careful
ago.
about names, please.
Ron Vargo.
No,
No, no,
don't
no.
mention.
I mean, no name.
A fire.
Jude, don't put that in the
Hey.
minutes.
A fire inspector. He had a knee replacement that burned up all of his bank. He's left with 15 days. He's got to get a partial knee replacement on the other. Says that it should take 4 to 6 weeks. So April 6th he'd need coverage for. He has 15 days, so it's going to be about 15 or 16 days. And the reason, two things. He works a 4-day work week, so he's using up the time faster. The upside is that we don't replace him. I've spoken to the chief. If we can find a way, it's gonna be his driving leg, so he going back and forth even for light duty will be difficult. But if there's things he can do virtually, I talked to the chief, whether it's plan review or something like that, if we can work it out, we can scale back those days. So we'd like him to be covered till April 6th. If I think it's gonna be longer than that because of complications, I'll come back for March's meeting. So if I could get him covered till April 6th, obviously whatever he doesn't use, he doesn't use.
He's already covered to April 6th is what he's got, right?
No,
Ah.
he comes to about the first week of March.
Uh.
So it'll be, if you want to take it till March, then I can come back to the March meeting and see if we need another couple weeks.
Well, our meeting in March probably won't be on the first, though.
No, I'm just checking the date. It's the 10th.
So if you want to
What's the
cover
date
them,
that he goes out, Bill?
what's that?
What's the date of surgery?
I think it's the 17th. So he's got pre-surgery stuff, he said on Monday and Tuesday, so it's the 17th is when he has the surgery.
So he has 4 days that week that he's out, or 3 days that week that he's out.
Yeah, so if you guys give him till the 10th to cover anything that isn't covered, then I'll come back on the 10th and see if we can extend it through April.
Chief? Okay.
Do we need a motion for that?
No, I think the issue is we're avoiding it, and I would only ask you to be careful about when this kind of discussion comes up, that you put it as notice of an executive session and a possible vote,
Okay,
so that we don't end up at some point with a problem that is gonna jeopardize one of our firefighters. And as the resident knee replacement and partial knee replacement expert, his timing is typical. For those of you who don't know, I'm 4 weeks out from the 4th joint hip replacement. So,
Wow.
Anybody else with any knee replacement? George?
no, that's it.
Okay, thank you. And thank
You
you.
should, with his current time, he should be covered through the 10th without going into the bank.
Okay, then I'll come back on the 10th.
just make sure it's
I-
properly noticed.
When I had asked, I thought I made myself clear, but I probably.
Yeah,
So we want this down as an executive session item.
on the 10th, it's gonna need to be.
Um, Public comment? Is there any comment?
Including you firefighters that are present.
They love to talk.
You're all welcome to talk.
That's when the union president tells them that they can talk.
I understand,
Oh,
You know how that works.
that definitely is not the case with everyone.
but I have a different role, so I can invite them. We have a different role, and I mean, in my tenure, this is the largest number of firefighters we've had at a meeting unless we've gone to the house. So no.
Maybe more.
Yeah,
They might-
you'll notice this around town. When things are good is when you don't see them so much.
Right.
Bad times is when you start to see
Right.
them more.
They might be more willing to talk at the house.
Yes.
Right, which, by the way, we should note for when it gets a little warmer that we want to again make rounds to the houses. We do try to get out.
The only thing is, we won't be able to necessarily do a WebEx, so we'll have to have.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Be safe.
Thank you all for coming. Okay.
Um, Are there any other items?
Information.
Okay,
It is 7:36 and I make a motion to adjourn, and that means Bill or Rob, I need a second.
Second.
I'll second it.
Bill.
Fine, Bill will second it, yeah.
all in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Hey, Bill and Rob, Chief McCarthy here. How's the audibility? We're using a new system, and with one microphone. in the middle.
For sure.
How is the audibility on your end?
Yeah, I